You are standing on a street that does not exist. The map in your hand shows nothing here. No town, no roads, no people. Just blank space, as if someone took an eraser and rubbed this whole place out of history. But you can hear children laughing. You can smell bread baking. And behind the tall fence in front of you, tens of thousands of people are living completely normal lives. Or what looks like normal, because nothing about this place is normal at all. This is a ZATO. That is a Russian word for a closed administrative territorial formation. But forget the long name. All you need to know is this. The Soviet government built entire cities and then pretended those cities did not exist. They wiped them from every map. They gave them fake names, or no names at all. And the people who lived inside were not allowed to tell anyone, not even family on the outside, what they were really doing there. Let that sink in for a second. Whole cities. Hidden, on purpose. The story starts in the late 1940s. World War II had just ended. The United States had dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan in 1945, and the Soviet Union knew it had to catch up fast. So Joseph Stalin gave the order: build secret facilities in remote places far from prying eyes, and build entire towns around them, so the scientists and workers could live safely, quietly, and completely cut off from the outside world. The first and most famous of these hidden cities was called Arzamas-16. It sits deep in a forest in Russia, about 400 kilometers east of Moscow. The number 16 was not the city's real name. It was a code. The real town beneath that code was called Sarov. But for decades, Sarov did not officially exist. It was not on any Soviet map. You could not find it in any phone book. If you wrote a letter to someone there, the address you used was a post office box in a completely different city. And what was happening inside Sarov? That is the part that makes your skin go cold. The Soviet Union's first nuclear bomb was designed there. The scientists who built it, including a brilliant physicist named Yuli Khariton, lived and worked inside the fence. They could not leave freely. Their mail was read. Their conversations were watched. Khariton himself reportedly said the scientists were treated like prisoners who happened to have nice apartments. They had good food, good schools for their children, movie theaters and parks. But they could not simply walk out and go home. The fence was real. The guards were real. And the secret was everything. But Sarov was not alone. Not even close. Keep that in mind, because this is where the story gets much stranger. At its peak, the Soviet Union had more than 40 of these closed cities scattered across the country. 40 towns that did not officially exist. Some built for nuclear weapons, some for chemical weapons research, some for building submarines or testing rockets. One city, called Chelyabinsk-65, now known as Ozersk, was built to produce plutonium, the material inside nuclear bombs. Tens of thousands of people lived there, right next to some of the most dangerous materials on Earth. In 1957, something went terribly wrong at Ozersk. A tank storing nuclear waste exploded. It was one of the worst nuclear accidents in history, called the Kishtim disaster. Radiation spread across hundreds of kilometers. Entire villages outside the fence were evacuated. But inside the closed city, information was controlled. Workers and their families were not told the full truth for years. The outside world did not hear the full story until decades later, after the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. That is the thing about sealed cities. The secrets do not just protect the weapons. They protect the mistakes too. Now here's the part that might surprise you most. Some of these cities are still closed today. Right now, in the 21st century, you cannot visit them without special government permission. Russia currently has around 40 officially closed cities, according to the Russian government's own published lists. Sarov is still one of them. Ozersk is still one of them. You cannot simply drive up and knock on the door. A high fence still surrounds Sarov. Guards still check papers at the gate. The children who grow up inside those fences grow up in a world where the outside is something you have to earn permission to visit. Researchers who study these places, including historians at the Brookings Institution in Washington and scholars who worked with declassified Soviet archives after 1991, have pieced together what life was like inside. Families stayed loyal because betraying a secret meant prison or worse. But many residents also felt genuinely proud. They believed they were protecting their country. Some described it, in interviews collected after the Soviet Union fell, as living in a bubble, a place that felt safer and cleaner and more organized than the chaotic world outside the fence. But here's the open question historians still argue about today. Was that feeling of safety real, or was it simply what people told themselves when they had no way out? When you cannot leave freely, when your children's school is inside the fence and your doctor is inside the fence, and every friend you have is inside the fence, how do you know what real freedom even feels like? Nobody who was born inside a Zato chose to be there. And some of them, even today, still live there. Because the fence is still up. The maps still leave those places blank. And the full history of what was designed, tested, and buried inside those walls has never been completely told. There are files that have never been opened. There are accidents that have never been fully explained. There are scientists who lived and died inside those fences whose names the world has never heard. It's not that the secrets escape. It's that they were never meant to. But secrets have a way of pushing through fences, through maps, through silence. Slowly. One crack at a time. The Soviet closed cities are real. Some of them are open now. Some of them are not. And somewhere behind a fence in Russia tonight, in a town that is not on your map, a light is on. If you want to keep following the places the world forgot to tell you about, subscribe to Wanderlore Tales. Every story here is one they would rather you never found.